One man has died after a fire tore through a tent encampment in New Brunswick. Crews called to the scene along a St. John roadway on Saturday night. Brett Ruskin has the latest developments. He's live in Halifax this morning. This fire, Brett, now fatal. Tell us about the incident and the man who's died.
Heather, we know that it started around 8 o'clock on Saturday evening, and it was in an encampment. As you mentioned, there were tents and makeshift housing arrangements there that people had built up. We know, based on witness statements and witness accounts, that this 44-year-old man was pulled from this burning area. Also from witness statements that there were people yelling for help, crying for help. So the fire team was called in, firefighters were called in to try to put out the blaze. We now know that this 44-year-old man, according to St. John Police in a statement, say that he was transferred to hospital in St. John and then transferred again to hospital outside of the province, likely here to Nova Scotia, where he was pronounced dead as a result of his injuries from the fire. Now, we do know that it was in a relatively busy area of St. John, so there were witnesses and witness accounts. Here's one of those witnesses talking about what he saw.
Flames were 20 feet high. There seemed to be something that was keeping it going. A lot of firemen, there was a lot of fire trucks, there was ambulance, 2 or 3 police cars, there was a lot of equipment here.
And now, as for what may have been keeping it going, fire crews were able to find cooking equipment as well as propane tanks after the blaze was put out, but that also hampered and made it more difficult to fight this fire. And again, the investigation into this blaze is still ongoing. Heather.
So we're about 48 hours after the incident now, Brett. What happens to the site, and especially what happens to the people who live there?
Yeah, well, housing advocates and volunteers are trying to find temporary housing for these folks who were already having difficulty finding housing. So the people who were living in this tent encampment, this temporary housing encampment, have to move someplace else. Obviously a difficult task when housing is at such a shortage in St. John as well as all across the country, really. Now, as for the fire investigation, that site police and fire investigators are still on scene trying to determine exactly what the cause of the fire was and any details. And police in St. John are asking anyone with information about the fire. They may have seen something driving past or living nearby, or maybe were at the fire, to again contact St. John Police. Heather.
Brett Ruskin in Halifax, thank you very much.